Hello, my name's Doug Kochner, and I'm with my wife, Angie Kochner. We've been coming to Faith Christian Center since 1997. And basically, when we got married, we moved down here for a job that I took. And my wife and I, we just began looking for a church. I think it was the spring of 1998.
1998, yes.
That you saw.
The billboard.
We came and visited, and that was the time that this church was raising money for Bud Sickler's church that they were wanting to build in Mombasa, Kenya. They're raising money for the roof. And at that point, when we sat through that first message and heard Pastor Gene teach on that and raise money for that, we just knew that was the church that we were supposed to be at.
And we knew that that was something we wanted to be a part of also.
Yeah. We were newlyweds. We'd started going in 1998. Really liked the church. We knew that this was the church we were supposed to be at. We knew that this church was a godsend. And as time went on, Angie got pregnant with Lexi, our first child. I mean, we were believing that God's plan A for us was for Angie to be a stay-at-home mom. So we were good up to that point. Right about there that we kind of started trying to help God out a little bit. We were trying to figure out how to make things work. We were believing for God's plan A that she'd be able to be a stay-at-home mom, but we didn't know how that was going to happen, and we didn't know really how to trust Him in that. And while all that was happening, my family in Missouri had started a family business, and my father had began speaking to me about possibly coming up. They needed extra help, and that would we consider coming up there and helping them with that. And we thought, that's going to fit right in perfectly to, her being able to stay at home mom, get back close to family, that this business was going to take off. This church was where we were supposed to be. And we didn't know it at the time, but we went ahead and went. Pastor and Pastor Sue were very gracious. We stayed connected to the church, and we continued to give, which turned out to be a major lifeline. And while we thought we were helping God and we thought we were doing what we were supposed to be doing, we quickly realized we probably had tried to help a little too much because things didn't go as planned. This was a family vacation rental company, and it required people booking things through the winter, and that just didn't happen after September 11th. Everybody was afraid. Nobody was doing anything. We made it through the next summer, the business, and we went into a second year with it. But we quickly realized that it was a struggle. The ease wasn't there. And I was just praying one night out in the driveway, and I was just praying to the Lord and reminded Him, of what we're believing for and what we were trying to do, and that we were still giving and still connected to Pastor Gene and Sue. And I just really felt for the first time Him speak to me and say, everything's going to be all right. You go ahead, you enjoy the fall. I've got it. I've got you. About 5 months later, I had a phone call from one of these pharmaceutical companies call me and said, hey, are you still looking for a job? And it was just bam, bam, bam. The ease was there with it, and I got the job. It was a blessing. It was a huge blessing. And we immediately, gave God the glory and continued, staying connected to church, stayed in the Word. And then things kind of started, getting back on track. And we realized by then that we needed to be back in Texas. The church that we were called to is where we were supposed to be. And that was where we started getting revelation that you can't just walk away from your field. If God called us to a church, He knew the missing pieces that she needed and the missing pieces that I needed for our family to be a success and to be everything that God wanted. For our kids. And we wanted more for our kids.
We wanted more for our kids.
It all goes back to identifying the fact where the blessing is, where God's called you. And, I know there's been people that have left the church in the past, or they've been here, they've been successful, maybe gotten sideways and left. I just really feel if God's placed you at a church, at this church especially,
a church like this,
that's where your blessing is. Nobody could ever talk us into enticing us to step out or to move away again.